Hello viewers and welcome back to the Car Fun Mostly channel. I'm making a video today. It's going to be called, I think, A Day in the Life of a Slot Car Racer. And the day has already begun, so I better show you. It's 20 past 1 in the morning and I can't sleep. I've got an alarm set for a very early time tomorrow, well, later in the morning. But I thought there's no point lying in bed thinking about what I'm going to be doing when this thing is taking place live. If you're not sure what that is, that's the Le Mans 24 hour. So I thought I'd come down, take a little look at that. Hopefully it'll put me to sleep like a Grand Prix sometimes does. Well, anyway, I'll catch you later and I'll tell you more about what we're going to be doing today. Cup of coffee in hand. Let's get in the car for the first leg of the journey. So as you can tell by now, I'm not just going to any local slot car club today. I'm going much further afield, and that's why I'm now, what, an hour up the road from home. Terminal 3 of Manchester Airport. I'm going slot cars abroad, which is unusual for me. So right now I just want to get inside the airport. I'll tell you more about where I'm going and why, and get on that bus that's got wings. See where it takes us. FR 3238. Boarding at the back. There we go. One of the highest security airports in Europe, if I believe what I read. At just after 5 AM on a Sunday morning, I thought this place wouldn't have been as busy as it is. Anyway, 5:55 AM, FR 3238. Boarding at gate 141. Let's find out where that is. That way. This is the bit I always enjoy. Tesla-like acceleration. So I've landed in Charleroi in Belgium. They call this airport Brussels South, although it's a 55-minute bus journey to there. So I've got to use this company next, and they're going to charge me more money to take a 55-minute coach journey than the flight cost to do however many hundreds of miles it might be. Anyway, the weather's overcast and spitting with rain, much like it was in England. Up there it's nice and sunny once you're above the clouds, but yeah, down here it's typical, I don't know, March, October, definitely not mid-June. Anyway, well, you all might be wondering why I'm here. Well, I'm on my way to a slot car club in Mechelen in Belgium called DSCA, and the reason that I'm heading there today is because next weekend there is a 24-hour slot car, digital slot car race on a circuit that they built about 2 years ago now, which is a replica of Paul Ricard, Circuit Paul Ricard in France, where the French Grand Prix currently takes place. Now, it's a circuit I've never been to before, and this afternoon they are opening the venue for the final practice session before the 24-hour endurance race starts next Saturday. Now, I've built a slot car chassis. Don't currently have a painted and decaled body shell for it yet, but a friend of mine is bringing one along that I can use today. More about that when I show you more about the car. So, next journey, coach to Brussels. In Brussels, I'm going to pick up a train. So I'm now done with that line of coaches behind me, and next it's Brussels Midi, railway station, and on for about 40 minutes of journey up into Mechelen. Now I know a lot of you people know that I like to race digital slot cars in endurance events with teams of drivers, and traditionally we would do the Le Mans 24-hour race in the UK, which is the big one really, and it's very fortuitous that I was watching Le Mans on TV last night. But the hall where we usually used to run the Le Mans race is no longer available to us, and there isn't a suitable replacement right now. So the organiser Gary decided to look for an alternative for 2024, and he's chosen to host his own 24-hour endurance race to the usual regulations on the Paul Ricard circuit. And well, this year I'm in a team with a group of individuals that have come from all over the planet virtually. We've got myself from the UK, there's Tamar, who's from Gouda in Holland. There is Ezra, a young guy, probably 20, 23 years old, something in that range, from Eindhoven. Then there's Jona, who is 18, I think, from Sweden. And lastly, there's Giovanni, who's from New Zealand. Now, Gio's already in Eindhoven, and he's making his way here today, along with Tamar, Ezra, and myself. So four members of the 5-driver team will all be at the track today. Only 2 of us have never driven on it, and we've got a range of chassis to choose between and decide which one we want to race next weekend. So it's a luxury problem. Usually there's one car builder and one car available, but this time we've had as many as 3 in the offing. So yeah, all 3 chassis are going to get some lap times drawn out of them today, some assessments on consistency, and 2 of the drivers, that's myself and Gio, are going to get our first experience on the track. Anyway, let's go and get a train ticket, and I'll talk to you more when I get a bit closer. It's 10:09, €5.50 to get from here to Mechelen. 10:27 is the departure time, and platform number 19. And now I've got to find, okay, 3 to 22, up those stairs. Let's see how we go. Train from Brussels to Mechelen is underway, and these are the cars that I brought with me to run on the track this weekend. They are NSR 720 NSR McLaren 720 based cars, but they don't use an NSR motorpod. They use what is essentially a slotted style motorpod, although the truth of the matter is, if it was a slotted chassis, if the chassis was made for a slotted pod, it would pick up these holes here on the pod, but it's actually made for a Scale Auto RT3 motorpod. So I designed the motorpod to have the wings on for RT3 fitment and slotted fitment, so if this ever becomes a commercially available product, it'll drop into both chassis and be a one pod for all circumstances. I won't go into too much detail about the motorpod, but there are a few other very clever elements to it, including the ability to put silicone flat washers underneath all its locating points if you should wish to do, well, you will wish to do so, because otherwise it will sit too low in the car. What you can see is the oxygen digital chip. In this case, there's an LED there that's attached to the braid, effectively, at the front of the chip. There is a socket just here for a lighting kit. It's a 2-pin socket on the back of the chip, which is equivalent to mounting it on the motor, and there's one here that's wired to the front of the chip, and that's equivalent to wiring it to the braid. And the lighting kit in the car, well, there's actually 2 lighting kits in the body shell. That's in an attempt to build in some redundancy, so if we have a lighting kit failure, the other one will keep the car body shell lit in a fashion that's legal and we can continue to race. So we've got some lights for the front and rear on this one, and some lights for the front and rear on that one. I've also done a quick release guide. It's actually a quick change braid system. I'm going to have an additional guide all built up with wires and plugs and if we need to replace the braids during 24-hour, we usually do have to, then it's one screw and 2 plugs instead of faffing around with ferrules and cutting braid and making it fit the holes and bending it correctly, etc, etc. There's a bit of ballast knocking around in the car, there's some tungsten putty there, there's some lead tape there and there, and yes, we've got scale auto gears on this one, whereas this one's got thunderslot gears. The suspension springs are all the same across both cars, they are scale auto ones. We've got soft ones here right now, hard ones here, and medium ones here. So yeah, that's the cars, and when we arrive in Mechelen, they'll be going on the track with a borrowed body shell up against a NSR based car with its triangular motor pod, and we're going to do some comparisons, see which one we like and which one we'll choose to take forward into the 24-hour race. Just got off the train in Mechelen. It's 5 to 11 in the morning, and I think I can now look for some food. Hook up with a friend to give me a lift for the rest of the way. Centrum, that must be the way out. It's not exactly the kind of railway station I imagined, but it has got a functional coffee shop, despite these places being closed. Yeah, is it too early to call this journey a success? Let's wait and see. I'll find a way to get it wrong if there is one. Town centre, Mechelen, on a Sunday lunchtime. None of the food stores are open. I found an automated bakery over there. I found a sandwich shop that was closed. Equally, I've managed to find a 7-Eleven type store. And so I got myself a sausage roll, pizza slice, something to drink, and a banana. And if you don't know why a banana makes you a better slot car driver, then you need to talk to Jim. Jim from NorCal Slot Car Scene. He swears by a banana to make you a better driver, and there is some science to back it up. Don't worry, I had a look online. Anyhow, lunchtime, get picked up, get to the club. I believe I've found the centre of Mechelen. Look at this architecture. Is it Gothic? That lot over there reminds me of Amsterdam and Dutch architecture. Wait till you clap eyes on this. Must be a cathedral. Yeah. Anyway, I found where the premium prices must be. I've come up that street there. I think I'm heading off in that general direction, if I can do it. Anyway, there you go. That's Mechelen on a Sunday lunchtime. Okay, I've just arrived at DSCA Mechelen. Outside, this is a factory unit. I don't really know exactly what it is. There's an odour of cut wood. There's a whole load of racking systems down there. But there's a window just here, and you can see through there. DSCA Slot Race Club. That's the podium. And this is what we're greeted with as we come inside. But right next to it is the Paul Ricard Ninko circuit, and on this occasion it will have a straight Mistral straight. These pieces here and here have been taken out and the straight's been straightened, which will make the lap even faster. Over at the back there, it looks like there's a kitchen. And of course, a lounge area
And 3 hours remaining of the Le Mans 24 hours. So there you go. I've made it in less than 12 hours, I think. Anyway, a pool table, a branded pool table. Fantastic. Even beer. So I'm waiting for my teammates to arrive. What time is it now? 12:40 in the afternoon. So we're on the start-finish straight, the official start-finish straight for the circuit. And there's a light bridge for analog lap counting, and the digital lap counting takes place at this bridge. Got some nice pit buildings. I saw these in production and now they're in place. It looks like the pit lane is actually full of digital flippers. So it looks fully functional. You'd be able to put your car there if you wanted to and then move back out to the fast lane. Although, as I understand it, we won't be doing that this weekend at the 24 hour because having having teammates stood here would be in the way of the drivers who are right behind me. So, what do we got? A left and right that looks like it's made of the same radius turns. 2 lane changes to bring you to the middle lanes. That's handy if you're coming out of the pits. 2 lane changes to take you to the gutter lanes. And then a right, left that is the same corner combinations. 2 more lane changes to the middle. A tighter turn. A lane change in between middle lanes. And then a much more open corner than anything so far, I think. And then there's a pit lane just here. And this is the one we will use for the 24-hour race because any teammates stood here won't be in the way of the drivers. And this table will be what we call the hot pit, which is the only area that teams are allowed to work on their cars during the 24-hour race itself. A couple more lane changes and a fast kink that looks like it might catch a few people out. Quite open, but I'm sure it'll wag the back of the cars. Some homegrown track adaptation there. And then we'll fly down the straight, ever so slightly downhill through that section, ever so slightly uphill at the end. And then a very slightly banked, favourably banked, cambered corner. No lane changes there. And then it looks like that turn and that turn are the same radius. Quite quick, flowing. This one a little tighter. And this one the same as this one, to all intents and purposes, but it does look like it goes in and tightens just there. So it goes in fast, it ends a little slower. More changers. And then what have we got here? Another good flowing turn. Okay, so this is obviously the intention, isn't it, to build in a pit lane entry just here instead of just there. And then a couple more changes and the tightest turn on the track, which should be quite natural coming off of that one. And another short shoot straight, well, mid-length straight. I like it very much. I'm sure it'll drive very well. Street lighting, LED street lighting. Oh, you can barely see it. It is on. As you get closer, you can barely see them. There you go, look. Several more. Looks like polystyrene has been used to make the grass infills. Barriers that overlap so that cars can tuck behind. One of the new polycar lane changes, obviously here to be reviewed, probably installed. Forestry. What else have we got? Yeah, an ambulance. A helipad. And a load of trucks. All decorated. Oh, sorry about that. Let's zoom in there, because I can't reach. We've got one done for the DSCA club. a Scale Electric, a Sideways, Michelin, Carrera, slotted NSR, Scale Auto, and one for the recently held DSCA Oxygen 9-hour Group C. What else is there? There's a telehandler just there, look. For recovering cars that have made it to the gravel traps, although there are no gravel traps, there are no gravel traps. And no doubt that's a Marshall's mode of transport. Another polycar lane changer. See how much longer they are than Ninko ones. Another Bambalance. And that's it. Let's have a look at the podium. Driver's stand. Some low-level blue LEDs there. Power supplies for your SCP controllers. There must be space for, well, there's space for 16 hookups, so there's 16 potential drivers in this. I think there's only 14 entries, so there's going to be 2 of those left empty, and I'm going to gamble that they are the end ones. Visibility is good from the centre. Which end of the track is harder to manage, I wonder? It's harder to drive. There's no two ways about it. The middle has got the best view of everything, as usual. And that end has the advantage of being nearer to the pits and any work that's being done on the car. Oh look, there are result screens hanging from the ceiling, 2 of them. And clearly there's a 3rd one behind that. Oh look, there's more. Yeah, there's lots of them. There's 2 there, 2 there. And another 2 on the opposite side. And likewise, there's a whole host of them hanging above the analog circuit too. There you go. Bit of a track guide. I'd like you to meet Ezra, one of our star drivers. So this is our car doing laps around DSCA. Paul Ricard, who is undoubtedly one of our fastest single lap drivers in the team. Brake too late. 2 more of my teammates are over here. It's actually quite late in the day now because we've been doing this for hours and we've been trying several cars. Gio, say hello.
Hello.
That should do it. And this is Tamar. Say hello to the people, Tamar.
Tomorrow's crashing at the moment, and I still get the longest stint to drive of us all.
Yes, you do.
Drive you guys home, and then still an hour and a half to get my place.
Back to go there.
Yeah.
Now, there's no doubt about it. Ezra's done hundreds of laps today, and he'll be tiring like the rest of us. It is 7:30 in the evening. We've been here since about 2 o'clock, running cars since 3. It took quite a while for this car to come to life. It was literally a little slow on the straights for quite a while. It's the one with the new motor in. I had got 2, if you remember, and immediately the one with the older motor in was clearly the better of the 2. Faster, and still had the acceleration. But this is the car with the newer motor, which is coming to life.
I think the track pulled down.
And there's only so much of this you can watch, but we're having a last ditch attempt, last change, last amendment to the way it's set up. Actually, I had to cut something off, so it was a one-way trip. What's the lap time now? Tyres are getting older. Haven't measured their diameter for a while. The consistency looks good. So I'm outside the club. It's 8:10 in the evening, and after a long day of running 3 different chassis, or 4 if you include the fact that I've got 2 with me, the team members present, which is all bar 1, have decided that we're going to go into the race with the chassis that I've made at home. Obviously they don't have body shells, but 2 of my teammates do have body shells, and they've got between now and Friday to make their body shells interface correctly with the chassis so that there is clear body float and that the lighting, kit connectors, etc. all work properly. And yes, it's been a long, hard day. I've had nothing to eat since around midday, apart from a couple of jelly babies and a piece of chocolate. So now we get in the car, and Tamar, I think, takes on a 2.5 hour drive home, I think. 1.5. But he's going to take the detour into Eindhoven to drop off Gio and myself and Ezra, which I think adds an hour for his whole journey. Yes. So yeah, a long, tiring day. It's time for us to take stock. We've got a conversation that we're going to have in the car to make arrangements. I believe I'm going to be leaving the chassis here for the individuals with the body shells, as I mentioned, and make a plan for how we go forward on Friday when we all meet back here again. Talk to you soon. So it's now 11:05 at night, and I'm back in Eindhoven. We drove back, dropped off Ezra, dropped off Gio at their relatives' digs, and went to McDonald's, and the place was packed with football supporters. But yeah, Tamar's just dropped me off here. He's got about an hour and a half onward journey to Gouda, home. And my place for tonight is the 3BE Backpackers Bed and Breakfast, Eindhoven. I'm about 5 miles from the airport, so that's the last jaunt to make in the morning. So I'm checked out of the Backpacker Hotel, Eindhoven. Walking across town now to the rail and bus station, making my way towards the airport. It's 9:15, and my flight leaves back for England at 12:25. So, a successful journey, very much worthwhile. I had quite a few small adjustments to make to the car, which initially was running too low and striking the rails with the motor. Having raised it in very small increments a couple of times, the grip started to improve, the lap times started to come down, the sound, significant change to the way the car sounded on the track, and yes, a successful journey. I've learned so much about what it takes to do a quick lap around the track. Not quite absolutely on the pace myself as a driver just yet. There's a few corners that this morning I've realised I haven't had a single crash all day just there, so I'm obviously not pushing to the limits or beyond. So when I come back later this week, there are certain areas that I'll be pushing a little harder in the hope that I'll find a little more pace. I've only got about a half a second to find to be among the really quick guys. A whole second would be nice, but that's going to be very difficult when you're at 11.5 already. So yeah, I've got teammate
who's been there a few times, he could get underneath 10 like I've said. Have a look at the spare chassis which I've got. A few more measurements and checks. Make some more of those guide and wire combinations with the plugs on there, so that we've got a spare or maybe a couple in the pit box ready for any eventuality during the 24-hour. Just make final preparations. Got a couple of days tomorrow and the next day before I jump in the car, and this time drive to the ferry and bring my partner with me and spend a long weekend here. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends so that they can do the same. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the section below and I'll attempt to give you an answer. And apart from that, keep your fingers crossed for us as a team. Subscribe, like I say, there'll be more updates, I'm sure, if I get the opportunity to make some clips during practice or during the event. As I understand it, there will be a live stream. Try and find that. It's worth a look in every now and again just to see how we're doing. Give us a shout out on there. And yeah, just thanks for joining me for 24 hours in the day, 24 hours in the life of a slot car racer. Bye bye.